When people think of character creation features, Soulcalibur VI is often the first game that comes to mind, as it's pretty well recognised for its character creation feature, allowing it to stand out from its competitors in the genre. Just how good is this character creation? And why do people gravitate to it, you ask? Let's find out. It couldn't be any easier to make a character in Soulcalibur VI. The user interface is presented rather well, as every part is listed in a grid and has an image associated with it to show what everything looks like. There are sliders for pretty much everything that is resizable, as well as for positioning, making it easy to place and resize things however you want. The ease of use category gets an easy S rating, as I have no real complaints to make here. While the facial features are pretty basic, I find that the game does a pretty good job in other areas. Body customization may be simple, but it works rather well. There are numerous categories for equipment, ranging from headgear, neck gear, shoulder gear, waist gear, 2 body gears, undergarments, leg gear, foot gear, and 3 accessory slots. Equipment can be recoloured in multiple areas too, which lets you alter the finer details to your liking. The accessories can be placed anywhere on your character and can be resized, which is pretty neat. You can recolour the character's weapon in multiple areas, as well as change the colour of the visual effects you see when you swing your weapon. You can also change the effects that show up when you hit an enemy. You can also change the aura of your character when they perform a soul charge, to make it truly unique to your character. On top of this, you can also apply stickers to just about anywhere you want, to add those extra visual details that otherwise wouldn't be present. As an added bonus, you can also change the pre-battle icon in the character select screen, adding borders, poses, visual effects, and more to showcase your character in the best way possible. There's also the race feature that you can choose from if that interests you, which is kind of hit or miss. It's handy when trying to make more fantasy characters, but some of the races have very few options, such as lizard men. You can also choose a voice for your character. I'll be giving this category an A rating, as it has a lot of great features, but I can't help but feel that the facial features are somewhat lacking. There's barely any beards to choose from, and all of the faces are preset. You cannot edit them to your liking, which is a colossal shame. While Soulcalibur V had a lot of flexibility in the base game, Soulcalibur VI is a colossal disappointment, as most of the parts from Soulcalibur V were removed, and later added as paid DLC, which is outrageous. That being said, there's still a reasonable amount of options on offer to create your character, but not enough to truly make it ideal. If you don't buy the DLC packs, you're going to find the options to be rather underwhelming, though to be fair, over time the developers have released a few DLC parts for free, but not enough to bring back Soulcalibur V's level of flexibility. There are a few additions worth noting, like having more voices to choose from, while also keeping the same voices from Soulcalibur V, as well as the numerous race options, but other than that, it is a downgrade from what Soulcalibur V brought to the table. I also find that there are fewer movesets available in Soulcalibur VI than there is in Soulcalibur V, with less weapon options. Rock is nowhere to be seen, neither is Lizard Man, so maces and one-handed axes are not available for character creation. Many of the characters are locked to DLC, along with their weapons, so you will need to buy them to get their weapons for created characters, though sadly most of the DLC characters don't offer many different weapon types. You have lots of sword users, but not much else. While I would have given Soulcalibur V an A rating, I'll be giving Soulcalibur VI a B rating in this category, because it's just not good enough to get an A rating. Created characters in Soulcalibur VI look amazing, even when compared to the main cast. You can even edit the main cast in the same way you can edit created characters, which can make it hard to tell if the character is from the main cast or not at times. The only real issue is that the faces are all presets, and because of that they kind of stand out more. I'm still giving this category an S rating because the characters still look amazing regardless. The longevity of fighting games ultimately depends on whether or not you are big into them. But from a casual perspective, there really isn't much to do besides doing one-on-one fights against the computer. While casual players may wish to take their characters online, they might find themselves getting demoralised by players of a higher skill level. It should also be noted that some rooms ban created characters entirely, probably to prevent the confusion of hit detection. There's also a separate story mode where you can create a character, but that is separate from the created characters you make for other modes. If you are big into fighting games, I think you'll get a lot out of your created characters, but if you're not, then you're probably going to use them for a few minutes, then put them down. I do think that they could improve this feature by bringing back the Chronicle of the Sword mode from Soulcalibur III, or by adding tag matches like the Tower mode in the Soulcalibur IV to have more characters available for use in battle. The issue is that with this being a fighting game, it's unlikely that any of this will happen because the fighting game community only cares about competitive play, and expresses a lot of contempt towards casual players for not sticking around to play the game because they get their asses kicked 24/7 online. Because many fighting game developers listen to their hardcore demographic, I can't help but feel that this isn't going to change anytime soon. Ultimately though, I'm going to be generous and give the functionality category a B rating because I can see people spending a lot of time playing with their creative characters, be it online or in versus mode, as well as the fact that the story mode feature exists for created characters. I just think that there's a lot of room for improvement in this category. There are 100 character slots available to you, with an additional 100 slots for downloaded characters which you can edit freely, essentially giving you 200 character slots, which is rather generous if you ask me. There are only 3 accessory slots and 4 sticker slots, but I don't think that's a huge issue, though it can be annoying when you want to make a really detailed character and run out of slots for stickers. The character limit for names is 12, which is acceptable also. I'll give the limitations category an A rating, as aside from the sticker slots, I think the rest is acceptable. I'd have preferred the sticker slots to be spread out for every part, so you can have more stickers on one part, as opposed to having only 4 per part, but only so many stickers would be allowed on the character. Ultimately, Soulcalibur VI lives up to its reputation as being one of the best games for character creation there is. That being said, however, there's still room for improvement in some areas.